So I've decided to revisit the OSMO 360. The key thing was how they've actually went ahead and added intelligent tracking to Windows software, which was the key reason for why I had decided to return it in the first place. That for me was a key, was one of the main deal breakers. Now, despite that, one of the things that definitely stood out as a major positive, this is something that I realized later on after I had returned it, was that the OSMO 360 in low light actually has a very effective noise reduction algorithm on the desktop app in terms of how it had looked initially, and I thought it was garbage. And then later, when I processed it and I had it render out, because I read on a thread somewhere on a forum how that's actually deceptive in a good way, in the sense that the final result that you get from the output is actually really good. And so I went ahead and loaded up my original video footage in the software, and the output was cleaner. I want to assume cleaner than the Insta360. And so as a result, I was just like, okay, this is something that the Insta360 doesn't have. I know recently in the Insta360 Studio app, we haven't seen the video noise reduction option in play. And so I haven't been able to do that comparison. But what I want to do later on is to do a side-by-side comparison in terms of what the image quality looks like in low light between the Insta360 X5, and this will come out in a different video, and the OSMO 360. Now, one of the things I do recall was the OSMO 360 had this weird white balancing issue where it was actively changing the white balance. In fact, I just realized I need to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and change that here. So what I've done is I've set the white balance to not be auto. And because that was one of the things there, the first footage I had went ahead and recorded with the OSMO 360, overall the footage looked great. It was just that white balance shift was actually getting annoying. And so whereas the Insta360 seems to do a much better job with that. But outside of all that, I think the footage that was coming out of the 360 OSMO was actually really nice. It's just the usability of it from a software standpoint, which kind of rendered it null. And so, but yeah, now that the intelligent tracking is back, and this video that you see here is being done, is being captured using the intelligent tracking feature on the desktop app. So that's what the perk of all this is. Now, there is a key advantage that the Insta360 X5 has over the DJI Osmo, or two of them rather. One is the fact that right now the Insta360 X5, I am running with the ND64 ND filter, whereas on the OSMO 360, I don't believe currently there is any option to be able to do any sort of ND. And so, although it's on auto right now, my understanding is the way that this thing works is that it's actually cranking up that shutter speed. And so you're not going to get the same kind of motion blur. Whereas on the Insta360, it's still bright out. So it's going to still crank up that shutter speed, but not to the same degree. Now, both of these have log. On the 360, Insta360, I'm running with iLog, using 5.7K, basically the highest quality image that I can get. Not highest resolution, but the highest quality image with relation to dynamic range and everything. And whereas on the OSMO 360, I'm running at 8K with D-Log and 10-bit. And the footage itself has been processed using a LUT. Just for reference, it is about 9 o'clock in the morning. And so this is the morning light that we're seeing here. And This is when it starts getting relatively bright out, but the light is still nice enough so that um, the surrounding environment, everything still looks nice. Now, one of the things to notice, so if you look at the Insta360 here, um, I am I have the microphone that Insta360 has, which is the Insta360 Air. Now, on the OSMO 360, you'll notice that I've got the Hollyland receiver, the USB-C one. Now, the good thing is the OSMO 360 actually has it will take a USB mic. And the upside, one thing is that the USB itself is positioned in the right direction. And so this way, if I mount the adapter on the Osmo, or the receiver rather, it is still within the stitch line. So you won't see it in the footage, which is how it should be. Is this simpler or easier than using the DJI Mic 2? Personally, I think this is much better, mainly because the Hollyland mics that I'm wearing right now and that I've got on my kid are noticeably smaller. They're noticeably smaller than the DJI mics. And so this would probably be my preferred way of connecting audio to the Osmo 360. Now, there is a downside. The downside is the fact that since the USB port is open, any weather sealing that the 360 might have had is disabled, right? Because the port is open. But if you're going to record in the rain or, how it is typically here in Houston, then you're going to want to ensure that your USB port is closed. But then again, I don't know how well the DJI mics would do in inclement weather. Whereas I know with the Hollyland, I've taken them into pouring rain and it's been fine. I haven't had any issues. And so, but they're small enough to be hidden, so to speak. So this kid, I'm trying to get him to the playground, but he's taking his sweet time. Baby, come on, aja. But anyway, so just wanted to share this just quick feedback and footage with between the DJI Osmo 360 and the Insta360 X5. I mean, they're both good. In this kind of setting, they're both great cameras. During the day, I might be inclined toward using the X5 simply due to the ND filter factor. The bigger sensor really becomes an advantage when the light is challenging, in the sense of there not being enough light. But when you have plenty of light, you're outdoors. I'm not sure if there is a noticeable image difference between the quality of the 1-inch versus nearly 1-inch. What's up, kiddo? Here, you want to come in the shade? Oh, you want to go straight to the swings, huh? Okay. Ready? Ready? 1, 2, and 3. What?